What's going on, man? It's your boy Wise. I'm back finally. Uh, Plenty of requests, too many requests, honestly. Come back, man. It's a lot of different Canes people, that discuss different things or whatever. Some of them, some great content out there for sure. On more of the analytical side, and then obviously, you got um 247 and Kane's insight and those great sites that people tap into. But um me and probably Reek and Swag were like the only two people like really giving the real. Like I don't have no ties to the program directly or whatever. I know folks that, can get information, but I also have never cared about spare any of these coaches or any of these players, to be honest. I get that they're, young adults and stuff like that. But the criticism gonna come with it. And at the end of the day, we Canes fans, bro. We just looking to start winning again. And nobody will be spared. So with that being said, we'll get into the evaluation of the roster at this point. Spring is kicking off and everything, and I think it's important for us to kind of look at the roster top to bottom and really evaluate like where we are. So, I'll subtly address the recruiting class and what happened in the portal and things like that. But first thing I really want to touch on though, just overall, is where the roster is. Okay. So earlier, I was going through and doing a total scholarship count and everything for players we currently have, like that are enrolled in that school, and then some of the dependent guys that are coming, some of the high school kids that'll be there pretty much in the summer, things like that after spring. So based upon my count from um from what I gathered earlier, it could be subtly off by a couple, but it's enough in the ballpark to where, we'll get into what needs to happen with the roster. But let's see. So, first off, we have five scholarship quarterbacks that will pretty much be on the team this year. So, between that, seven scholarship running backs, 10 scholarship wide receivers, five scholarship tight ends. We have 19 offensive linemen that have scholarships, um, eight DTs, 11 defensive ends, nine linebackers. I put the number at seven for cornerbacks because we have a lot of hybrid kids. I mean, truthfully, we only have Porter, Brown, Stafford, Freeney, Richard, and the freshman technically coming in as truly at corner. I put Harris there, but I mean, he was already being cross-trained at safety. And then like with some of the freshmen that we got coming in, I was talking to my boy Prime earlier, and he was saying that Mac is probably going to be at cornerback, but I mean, 247 has him listed as a safety. But seven corners, nine safeties, and four special teams players, being two kickers, one punter, and the long snapper. So roughly, I got an estimate of 94 bodies that's on the roster. So pretty much, we're going to have to shed 9 to 10 kids at the end of spring. Like it's not even an if and or but. So, and just so everybody know, I didn't count Jason Taylor's son, because he's a preferred walk on because he's free. So and I also didn't count Cristobal nephew, even though last I was told, at least for last year, he was included in the scholarship count, even though he's family and family normally goes to school for free. I don't think we were really squeezed on the numbers like that last year per se. So there was room, especially, after some kids left and things like that. But yeah, we got about 10 bodies we have to shed, roughly. And truthfully, just looking at this roster, I can't see my screen, but um my personal take on it, I'm fine with the five scholarship quarterbacks as far as running back. So let me say this about quarterback. So Cam Ward should put us over the hump. And when I say put us over the hump, I mean if Miami does not win 10 games next year, including the bowl game, that season will be considered a complete failure. I don't care about I'm telling you, if at least 10 games it's not won next year, this season is a failure. I understand injuries happen, shit like that, but that's why you stack the roster or attempt to stack your roster. We're heading into year three. We finally got a quarterback that can do some things that should be a game changer on a regular basis. So I fully expect a minimum of 10 wins, including the bowl game. I know some of y'all gonna watch this video and say, oh, we say stuff like that every year. I mean, it is what it is. Not saying we'll get it. I'm telling you, if we don't get 10 wins, it's a complete failure. And if we can't obtain 10 wins in the regular season just by looking at the schedule, then that's just not a good year. Like we shouldn't even need the bowl game to get to 10 wins. But let me go ahead and I'm about to pull this up real quick because like, bruh, we can't get 10, 2024. All right, so here we go. I know who we're playing and everything, but I just wanted to make sure this is all in order. So obviously we kicking a year off with UF, right? Should beat Florida. Okay. That's just there's no if, ands, or buts about it. Like we should beat Florida. Okay. Florida A&M. Come on, man. Ball State. Come on, man. USF. Come on, man. And then we get into ACC play. Okay. We should beat Virginia Tech. All right. We should beat Cal. Okay. That's one, two, three, four, five, 6 wins. Louisville is going to be a toss up. They were highly improved this year. And they grabbed a lot out of the portal. Like they grabbed, off the top of my head, I know they grabbed at least 6 or 7 starters out of the portal for real. So that's a toss up. Florida State, I don't expect to be good next year. Just with the amount of depletion that they've had and how they have, pretty much used the transfer portal to kind of retool more than, focusing a little harder on um actually letting, the younger talent player thrive. But that's a rivalry game, so I can't even say we should beat them. So that's also a toss up. We should beat Duke. I don't care. They got Manny Diaz, bitch ass. He's a terrible coach, by the way. I know they got was that Malik from Texas and all of that. I don't care about none of that. We should beat them. We should beat Georgia Tech. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Toss up on Louisville, toss up on Florida State, beat Duke, beat Georgia Tech. That's 8 wins. At that point, pick your poison. We should beat Syracuse. We should beat Wake Forest. I understand that, things may not go as planned. So even if you drop one of these two games, if you lose to Louisville, if you lose to Florida State, and you drop one of the two out of Wake Forest and Syracuse, you still at 9 wins. You should get 10 for the bowl game. So you can't get 10 wins with that, you know, we in trouble, just in general. But, Cam Ward should be able to get you there with what else is on the roster. And we'll just continue to address that. They're saying that it'll be an open quarterback competition between Jakuri, Emery, and Reese. If Reese is the guy that they want him or wanted him to be, if we didn't land Cam, then he should win that competition. And if he can't win that competition, if he can't beat out Emery and Jakuri, if I'm just being totally real, then he just need to bounce. Because if he get beat out by either one of those guys going into 2025, knowing that, Cam is only here one season, then he just need to be gone. It's that simple. So I do know from what I've heard anyway, he's real big on um energy and enthusiasm. The one thing Tyler lacked. Tyler had to be the most lackluster quarterback I can remember at UM in a long time. Like his lack of emotion was just disturbing to me anyway. Like I hated it. Like I get you attempting to be even keel, not be, get too high, too low or whatever, but that wasn't him. Like he just didn't have it. And then when you hear about all of the stuff about him telling Dawson he don't want to have to he don't want to have to like make decisions. He wants, throw it here, throw it here or there. If it's not there, then he don't want to run. He don't want to really go through progressions and read the field for real. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, there is no way you're gonna play in the NFL and you can't do things like basic things like go through your progressions. Like, I don't care if you're 6'4" with, some good arm, you'll never play in the league if you can't do those basic things. So that's crazy. And Mario them are fucking insane for even putting up with some shit like that, especially from a bum ass player like that used the whole Alabama ploy, to get extra NIL money and shit. And then you get out there and just, you know, confidence get a little low and then you just stink it up from here on out. Like that shit was pathetic, honestly. And I'm really surprised that the coaches really let him kind of get away with and do some of the shit that he was doing after the shitty ass season, that he had, the year before. Like, bro, that to me was kind of wild, but I'm glad he's gone. As far as running back, obviously, we lost players. I'm not really gonna touch on that too much, but I do have a problem with running back though. So Fletcher's hurt. Citizen has never taken a snap in college. Neither has Wheatley. Neither has Lyle. And Johnson hasn't taken any meaningful snaps. So really, the only thing you got on the roster right now with since the prefer walk on from Florida State is bouncing, which whatever, that ain't a big deal. But since Hill is bouncing, but you got Parrish, which I don't even know why he's still on my fucking roster, honestly. And you got AJ Allen. I saw Allen in the spring game. Like I went to the spring game and I was surprised. I was like, oh shit. Like I saw him and Kiko and I was like, okay, we got two. Like we really got some ones. And then the season started and I never saw that version of Allen, in my opinion. Like it ain't even about necessarily big plays, but when you see that ball get handed off and it look a certain way and it feel a certain way, like you feel like Never got that from him at all last year. You know, read and heard that he was nicked up and shit like that. But we never really got that from him. As far as Parrish, bruh, if we give Parrish any meaningful care, like if he is like getting real snaps to start the season, then the running back room is not in good shape. It gotta be trash. I'm sorry, no disrespect to bro or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I personally, even when he was in high school, like I said he was Joe Yearby 2.0. And anybody that know me and know how I fuck with the Canes, like I never cared for Joe Yearby. That's pretty much what Parrish was. Like he was producing and stuff in high school, but I didn't see it. And he literally looked like Yearby, like on the field. Like that's not the running back I want on the field at all. Like I don't need Bruh getting no snaps. None. So that means that either Fletcher is out, Allen is not being Allen, or Citizen is not available. That is the only way, in my opinion, I would play Henry Parrish. Any legitimate snaps at all. Like, I don't really know what they be seeing, quote unquote, or whatever, but I really hope that when the season starts that he's not getting none of my snaps. Like, be a depth player, that's cool. We need the depth, bro. Um, you gotta have, certain amount of players on the roster to make it make sense and all of that. But I don't need bro getting no meaningful snaps to start the season. If you do, I'm probably gonna expect less than 10 wins if we being real, because that's crazy. Um, at wide receiver, um, I mean, for sure, I definitely don't expect Michael Redding to be on the team after spring. I also don't really know what's going on with Shamar Kirk. I would peg those two guys to be cuts in a sense of if you had to make space on the roster, you're definitely probably getting rid of or forcing out Redding and Shamar Kirk unless something change. Because I mean, you got X, you got George Horton, you got Ray, you got Robbie. Um, Trader, Carr, and Robinson. So the two that I would quote unquote be pegging would be Redding and Kirk. So that's two. I know Parrish probably not gonna leave. So I mean there's really no running back to peg. So at tight end, you got five tight ends. None of them aren't going anywhere unless one of them just decide to transfer. But I think PT and that is kind of wide open. We got, the pretty much the coach that's in the room. I feel like that's why they let, Cam back for his ninth season, I believe, eighth or ninth season. It's kind of crazy, but I mean, at first I didn't like the move when I first saw it, but I'm like, that room is so young. I mean, if you remove him from the room, the oldest person you got in there is a royal. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't really seen too much or whatever. I mean, hopefully he can be healthy this year to really give us something and be the guy they thought he was gonna be. But yeah, that's pretty much it. From O-line, you probably got two you shaving. I don't know if Zion Nelson plays another meaningful snap. And I'm looking at one of the other guys, rather if it's maybe it's Washington, maybe it's Logan, somebody, but I'm expecting two linemen roughly, maybe even three to be gone. So that'll give us roughly five. At DT, I don't see anybody leaving because you got two transfers coming in, stuff like that. We got Gore, Hunt, Moten, Horton, Cook, Clark, Scott, and Jones. So you got like what, two freshmen, two transfers coming in, plus the four that was already on the roster. Um, with DN, I mean, I don't really see anybody, there's no room to really move nothing at DN. So really where you start to potentially get into attrition is here at linebacker. So we already dealing with two from receiver, probably three from the O line. I would hope that a running back, i.e., would fall off, but that's five. And then, I mean, if I had to peg somebody for sure, I mean, Chase Smith, potentially six for sure. Like that. I mean, there's no way to get around that. This is kind of a make or break spring for him. Like either he do it or he don't. So that would be six. And then you looking at it, one of the other guys that could dip, I'm not gonna even say a name, but another young guy. So I mean that would put you at seven. And then from there, the only other player that I would suspect maybe trying to leave or maybe pushed out is Brian Balaam, just because I mean we haven't seen anything. So I'm not saying he can't do anything. I remember when he first came in for Clemson or whatever, when Bubba got his stupid ass ejected from the game. I think that was when that happened. Was that Bubba? Or was that somebody else? Can't remember, but whenever it was, when he first got inserted, like I felt like, we was seeing something, like, it was gonna get something. And, it never materialized, but that'll put you at about eight. So moves definitely have to be made in regards to that because we're just not gonna have space. I mean, we got to get to 85. So, like I said, we're looking at 8 to 10 kids, quote unquote, being forced out. And that's under the premise that we don't grab two or three guys like after spring. I could see us adding something. I could see us adding a cornerback for sure. Safety, I'm not worried about because I feel like um, Riley and Powell gonna have that sewn up, in my opinion. And that's just me. So I'm not worrying about that. And I think those two end up starting. I think Harris will get some good snaps, and if Patterson is ready, maybe he plays. If Markeith is ready, like maybe he plays. We'll see, but we definitely could still use a cornerback for sure, like 110%. The cornerback room that can play straight up, that can straight up play corner is thin, like it's super thin. So we definitely need a cornerback. Um, like I said, I can see them adding a linebacker. If need be, I just don't think we'll do it, but I could definitely see them also, adding a receiver if it's star worthy. I know a lot of people got high hopes for Horton this year. Um, I'm not concerned about receiver room in general, just because of who's coaching that room. I mean, like bro, I've been asking for Kevin Beard for years now, and what he's done with that room, like in the small time frame he's been here, like what he recruited, like his haul. Like I get it, didn't snag Jeremiah or whatever during December, but I mean, he signed Trader, he signed Nycard, and he signed Robinson. Like that's a great haul, period. Like, and then with the way he coaches, bro, I have no doubt in my mind that the receiver room, like moving forward, will turn into an elite one. It's not right now, but I mean, look what he did with George. One of the main things one of the main ways I knew that his coaching had broke through was when we played Texas A&M. On that play, like right before the half, when George had ran that route and he was in the end zone, and he basically the DB, like they both put hands on each other and he discarded, bruh. And then he caught the TD. I was like, bro, that's Kevin Beard. I remember from years ago watching him in them practice videos telling them, like, nah, KB be like, move the fuck out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me show y'all how to run this shit for real. And that boy out there with them cleats on, and he shows them exactly how he wants the routes ran. He showed them exactly how to use their hands. So he not just, oh, hey man, do this, and he can't do it. Like, I don't know what he looks like now because I haven't seen like the updated stuff with him running routes, but that boy was out there getting it, and he can show you how to do it. And the way he teaches it, I mean, he took X game to another level. He's made George look like the player that some of us thought he could be. This was really a make or break year for Jacoby anyway. And truth be told, I mean, he should have had at least 1,200 yards if we being real. I mean, he got to stop being a fucking dickhead with all of every game, bruh, is doing something to get a penalty. He might not get the penalty, but he's doing multiple penalty worthy plays. Like, if you look at him out there on the field, no lie, at least 30% of his snaps where you can see, with the camera panning or whatever and catching stuff, he's getting into extracurricular shit with the DB that he dealing with. If he blocking, even if he running a route and he ain't get the ball, like he doing some type of yapping or some extra shit. It's like, bro, if you can't control your emotions and play cleanly, then you don't need to be on the field like that, bro. And I get, now the fact that he's produced the amount that he's produced and stuff like that. But at some point, he got to grow the fuck up. And then on the other end of it, Kevin Beard and Mario Dawson, however you want to put it, they got to stop allowing that shit because it's going to come to a point where those are discipline things. I don't care what anybody says. Like you allow a player to do that, and it's not even about the flags he's getting. About all, bro, y'all watch film. So all of these plays are seen. Like y'all have different cuts, different edits. Y'all see this shit week in and week out when y'all watch film. And not enough can't be getting done because bruh still he did it every game. From game one to the end of he did it every single game. So like, I rock with George. You know what I'm saying? When he first came here, I expected what I'm seeing now. I actually expected more, but you get what I'm saying. So like he gotta clean it up though. Like we trying to win. Like we don't need that shit. Like I'm cool about you being emotionally invested into the game and everything like that. But when you doing too much extra shit like that, or every other play or every three plays or so, you could potentially, be causing us, problems or whatever. Like I'm not fucking with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know they different players, but like X makes plenty of plays and he is able to show enthusiasm and celebrate and shit like that. And he doesn't ever get flagged. He's never in the extracurricular. He be out there trying to block harder than anybody else. Like he makes plays. He don't have to do all of that. So bro need to tighten up for real. And he got off real easy. Like he's had some situations while he's been here, at least three for sure. And he's been given grace. So, he need to make the most of that opportunity and you know, and just, be more mindful. You know what I'm saying? Like this team only gonna be as good as, the players, holding each other accountable and stuff like that. That's another thing. Like y'all might be friends or whatever, whatever, but not one time last year did I really see one of the players like chew his ass out for real on the sideline for doing that dumb shit he be doing. Not one time. And not that, hey, bro, you gotta chill. Like, nah, like let him know, like for real. And like if it's a problem, bro, like, not on the sideline, but we'll settle it in the locker room. But like you ain't supposed to be putting everybody else in the game and stuff like that at risk because you literally can't control your emotions. Like they don't check each other like that. And until like they start checking each other like that for real, like ain't gonna be no real accountability out there for real, for real. I mean, the coaches are only gonna do so much. The players are gonna have to, that's the next step. That's the next part of this thing. Like if you said you didn't see progress or whatever from year one to year two, then you can't be a real Canes fan. Might have not been what you wanted to see, but the overhauling of the roster is taking place. You know what I'm saying? I think updated rankings or whatever, we might be like number three this year's class. We made some key additions in the transfer portal, like just in general. out of the portal, we grabbed two people that we know aren't starters, which would be JT, Son, and Reese. And then that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, anybody else that we brought in could potentially be starting. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that includes, Austin. Like for Marshall, I know people are like, oh, whatever, he only 6'3", 2 6. Like that boy he's, according to his grades that came in, he's like that. So we brought in starter quality and a couple of like guys that have star potential. Obviously, Cam Ward is a star. He should be. He shouldn't be no less than a star. Um, but Powell can be great for us. Riley could be great for us. You know what I'm saying? Like Cook could end up being great. I mean, we'll see. Um, CJ Clark could be great. You know what I'm saying? Zach Carpenter is supposed to be plug and play. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we we got some shit out of that portal. That's for sure. Um, but overall, man, I think we're in a pretty good place. I think we're in a pretty good place. And if we continue to, recruit the way we've been recruiting, then we should be fine. We should be fine, man. Like everything has been on an incline, from first got here, Mario snagged a top 15 class. You know what I'm saying? In little time. In little time, he snagged a top 15 class. And then last year, we had a top 10 class. You know what I'm saying? And this year, we got a top three class. So, I expect nothing less than to be a top three class again. I mean, yeah, you can end up at four, but you get what I'm saying. Like we should pretty much have a top five class every single year. You keep stacking top five classes and we'll be good. So um personally, I'm not really expecting any more movement in regards to coaches. Um, that's no, I got no insider information or nothing, but I know a lot of people are not happy with a die. And from a recruiting perspective, I don't think Mario is happy with a die either. But the biggest thing with a die is, in my opinion, if Mario gets rid of a die, he's not going to find a better on the field coach than a die that will be available. I bet my bottom dollar on that. He ain't gonna find nobody that's gonna be able to teach it like a die teaches it. That way it could translate on the field. I mean, if we being completely real, like you get certain stuff out of certain people, man. Like it's a reason why a lot of the things with Reek transferred over to the league, if we being honest. It's a reason why Porter, after, looking like shit, in my opinion, in 2022, it's a reason why he was clamping shit this year. The comfortability with the system, the teaching, the way it's taught. Like James looked the best that he's ever looked this year. And other people being brought along. Like I thought Richards looked good, towards the end of the year. Like, in my opinion, it's part of the reason why Dye has more success with portal DBs than high school kids, because the kids that already been in college that are trying to get to the league, when he bring them in and they come on visits or whatever, that shit he talking, they understand what he's talking and they like, okay, he really know what the fuck he talking about. You see, because they already done been in a program, they done been in a system, they done been in college. Like they may have not been getting taught that way, but they know, what that shit's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to translate, how you can be used and stuff like that. That doesn't translate as well with top end high school kids that, are divas, if we being real. or that just want the attention. Like a die isn't gonna chase these kids. And for me, that's where Mario got to pick up the slack. That's what you're here for. You top dog recruiter. You know, you got a motherfucker on staff that ain't live, breathing, and dying recruiting like you, but you know that motherfucker's a hell of a coach and he does recruit. You just not getting the results you want to see. Then okay, this what you getting paid $8 to $10 million a year for, big dog. Put them pants on and now you gonna have to go start landing these motherfuckers. These big dogs anyway. Like you should be the lead on these. Like you might not be listed as the lead, but you should be leading on these. So, that's what I expect out of that. So I personally don't want to see a dog go. I get the recruiting frustrations, but to me, a die is like Mike Rump 2.0. Okay. In my opinion, Mike Rump couldn't recruit. He wasn't a great recruiter. You know, the way he attempted to recruit, I don't think was effective. That's no disrespect to Mike Rump. Mike Rump on the field was teaching NFL technique. Only problem is all of those kids that we recruited, the best ones he had were actually ones that were already here that he transformed, but everybody wasn't built to learn that. But if they did and they got the opportunity to play in a league, they were already NFL ready because he was teaching them NFL technique, point blank period. Like the transition from there to the league, smooth as butter. A guy recruits better, but he also, how he teaches it, in my opinion, he's getting the most out of these kids. And what he teaches is going to directly translate to the NFL. And he knows how to get it over to more kids, in my opinion, than the way Rump was teaching it. Rump was teaching it in a manner that if you couldn't do it, it was gonna be hard for you to play, period, because like he wanted it done a certain way. And if you was doing it right, then you seen what it looked like. I mean, let's be real. Like we saw Elder, be transformed. I believe that was year one. You know what I'm saying? Like transformed from, what he had been looked like. We saw when Bandy wasn't a number one cornerback, but when he was a number two, like he was clamping shit. We saw what he turned Mike Jackson to in college. I'm not talking about the league. I'm talking about in college. We saw what he turned him into. In 2017, Michael Jackson was actually one of the best cover corners in college football. Bro didn't get bombed the whole year. Like anytime that shit was deep, wherever, like that shit was clamps. And then 2018, I think we saw him get beat maybe two or three times, but it's different. We thought, that shit would look a certain way. So I'm good with a die. I said all that to say I'm good with him. Like the way he coach it, we all good. And then we got Gidry locked up on defense. So I have no problems with nothing in regarding the defense. Like the linebackers looked great this year. Obviously the D line doing what they doing. We had a plethora of injuries last year. Gidry really he really know what the fuck he doing. Like he's one of them ones. So um realistically, especially, if we start winning, I mean, we only gonna have Gidry for another couple years anyway, two or three. If Miami win 10 games this year, and then the following year we win 10 plus again, Gidry might be gone. And if we win, 10 plus 3 years in a row, you can go ahead and cash a lotto ticket in on that. Because, that man has, further aspirations and stuff too. So, I think we're in a great spot on defense. On offense, I think we'll, finally get to see some of the creativity, in my opinion, that we were seeing like in the first, four games or whatever. Um, Dawson won't be handicapped by by having a bum ass quarterback. Let's just call it what it is. So because he won't be handicapped like that, I do expect to see better results. And, people can say whatever they want about the offense, but Every single game I watched, it was motherfuckers running wide open every play. And I get that that happens, but like I'm talking shit that there's no way Tyler couldn't have not seen certain stuff. But then when I found out that he was locking on one or two people before the play, it made sense of why you wouldn't see this motherfucker on the other side of the field wide ass open. But you trying to force the ball to X. Listen, I'm finna give every quarterback some advice. And I know the game moves fast, and people say, oh man, it's not that simple. If you look at a motherfucker and you see three bodies around him, I promise you there is somebody that is wide open. I cannot count the amount of times that this motherfucker would see three motherfuckers around X and throw that bitch anyway. And I'm like, bro, if there's three people on Restrepo, there's at least one other person wide open, I promise you. They rushing four and there's three people in the vicinity of Restrepo because they're playing zone, and he probably ran into the zone to maybe help break somebody else open. There's two for sure, but there's somebody else open. So, at least we got somebody to actually understand that now. But spring is in, man, so probably do a quote unquote every 2 week check-in. I'm not gonna say weekly because enough stuff don't be necessarily going on all the time or whatever. But yeah, man, just wanted to touch on the roster real quick and speak on some light things or whatever. The attrition is coming, and it might not just be some of the guys that I've named. So, if y'all see some of y'all favorite younger players that really didn't, play as much as they wanted to last year, or they not where they want to be on the depth chart for spring, then, don't be surprised if they bounce. Um, I do know probably, I guess, maybe a one name that people would hate to see or whatever, but I mean, the the Brown shit is still there. So I know folks kind of just swept it under the rug or whatever, but there is still a possibility that that bruh could clear it. You know how finicky situations and stuff like that is. I mean, I don't see any way that he's not a starter this upcoming year. Like for real. The talent is there, everything is there. But if bro decide that he wanna, slide and, go play with his bro or whatever, then, if the family makes that decision, and that's what it's gonna be. Cause that was an 11th hour thing, on even him even deciding to stay in the first place because of, different windows, and you had to enter in, you know, to a certain point or whatever. But yeah, man, y'all can let me know, comments, whatever, as far as whatever you would like me to potentially address next. But like I said, for spring, every 2 weeks, and then moving forward, like after spring, going into summer, I probably would do something maybe every month. Or I might continue with every 2 weeks to kind of just keep it consistent up until the season start, heading into, fall camp and everything. But that's it, man. If y'all got any questions, concerns, or whatever, just let me know, and I'll address it in the next video.